How you doing, everybody? My name is Jedi Joe. I am the president and co-founder of 757 Geek Fandoms, and this is our Wednesday night roundtable. As always, I have the executive vice president, Mr. Larry Garrett, with me, and on the other side of the panel, he is the promoter, the producer of course, 757 Geek Fandoms Roundtable. Guys, if you're into self-promoting or looking to, put something out, see Calibus Ran and the Cosmic Portal. They do everything for us, and we can't be who we are today without him. He's been a very asset, so that is that. So in the roundtable, guys, this started about 2 years ago, and of course, the height of the pandemic. And it's our way of getting together once a week and kind of talk about the geek fandoms, anything related to it, you name it. The roundtable brings a few different things. It brings different opinions, it brings likes, dislikes, and it brings a learning aspect to things as well. I've actually got into new stuff and really, really enjoyed it. Also, a gauntlet is thrown every now and then. It's our way of saying that, we may not be actually like a certain thing, but it's not meant to harm anybody. It's not meant to be rude or anything. It just kind of happens. So we try to keep that under control as well. Each Wednesday night comes with a topic, either myself or any of my staff comes up with. Every now and then I throw in what is called a mystery topic or mystery host. And what we have for us tonight, guys, is we have a new mystery host with a new mystery topic. In order to run the roundtable, of course, you have to be one of the knights of the roundtable and basically kind of be with us for a little while. We can get into that later. Quick shout out to, of course, Miss Liz, the First Lady of Fandom, Mr. Mr. Jakar from the Priory of the Phoenix. He is the Marshal. And then, of course, other roundtable guests, Mr. Mark, Damien, different people that we've met at conventions. I surely thank you for what's going on. And now, I don't know about you, but I talked to someone. I mentioned someone for this whole roundtable thing. Believe you me, guys, it's kind of nice to do this because it takes a little pressure off me. That's 2 weeks in a row I didn't have to work as hard. Miss Jinky says hello. And she's being nice to us. So, guys, our longtime member, Knight of the Roundtable, I give you Mr. Brad Myers. He will be our host. And, sir, if you need any help, just say, hey, Alan, take over or whatever. But as of right now, it is yours.
All right. Well, tonight's topic is Battlestar Galactica, 1978. The original, not the remake. So,
Martin Landau. Yeah.
We're going to have fun with this because, some of us were barely born then.
Right.
Martin Landau, Barbara Bach. Yeah. All over.
All right. So, YouTube doesn't want to play it, but that's okay. All right. So, start out. Yeah. When you hear the topic of Battlestar Galactica, the original from 1978, what kind of feelings does it bring to you? We'll start out with Miss Liz. What kind of feelings does Battlestar bring to you?
I love the original Battlestar Galactica, being the fact that a couple of those people in that show were good close friends of mine. and I used to run around in a Battlestar Galactica outfit, the original. I cannot get into the outfit anymore. I can get the coat on, but I can't snap it up anymore.
Which
20 years of growing and aging just doesn't work.
Which of those people did you know?
Honestly? I knew Richard Hatch.
That
played Apollo.
Yes, I was in love so much.
Well, he was a good friend of mine for 23 years, 24 years. So, uh, and then I knew the Colonel Tig. Knew him pretty good from
Yeah.
various conventions. And that's the only two I really knew. I met a few other people over the years, but basically, that's why I love Battlestar Galactica, is because, you know, I was pretty much wrapped up in it for quite a while. I used
Oh,
to,
yeah, I
used to,
completely agree. I mean, I grew up watching that, and my mom would say, "I hate that show because all I can hear is the engines roaring in the background."
but I love the hit. If you're into Egyptian history, that's why it was another reason I
Yes.
liked it a lot.
Yeah. No, it was like we have to leave this planet, and there was so much history about our planet leaving to go find somewhere else to live. Like fly out into the universe and find somewhere else to live and take our history elsewhere.
Did you ever get to meet Dirk Benedict and the point of that?
Yes, I met Dirk Benedict twice.
So how does that tie into Babylon 5 for you?
That's not the topic for tonight. The topic's Battlestar
Oh,
Galactica.
sorry.
Yeah, yeah, we're not going to try to link those shows together. I'm going to try to keep it to some other shows that are involved, mainly Knight Rider, because they shared a lot of the same audio clips and things of that nature. But yeah, so
Sorry, got very excited about Battlestar Galactica. Back down.
no problem. So yeah, the link to Knight Rider, basically, Glenn Larson, the producer of the show, he also produced Knight Rider. So Kit technically is a Cylon because he's a robot with a flashing red light in front. And every time Michael hits the turbo boost, you hear our Colonial Viper launch. So they like to reuse this stuff. Plus, this show, Battlestar Galactica, was never meant to be a week-to-week series. ABC originally was going to use it as a series of miniseries, which is why the original pilot was 3 hours long. Actually, the first 7 episodes are actually three miniseries movies that were made. Um, the the original production value of the first pilot today would be $31 million. Back in 1978, it cost $7 million, but today it would be close to $31 million for that basic TV pilot. So
Hey, Brad,
yeah,
are we getting into anybody else discussing how they felt about the show, or we're going to continue to go this direction? I'm just kind of confused.
okay, yeah, we can go back to that. I just wanted to get it back on topic.
Thank you.
All right, Jedi Joe, what did you think of Battlestar Galactica in the 70s?
Oh shoot, Battlestar Galactica was great. It actually kind of influenced my life throughout times with Star Wars and everything. I thought that my house was the Battlestar itself, and then I thought that the bike that I was driving or riding was a Viper. Anytime we went to camping trips or whatever, hey, that was a Cylon base, and I was kind of going into it and going to blow it up, you know. It was definitely good part of my imagination, I would say. And of course, Star Wars only came out once in a while on the theater, but when you had Battlestar Galactica, it came out every week. So very much enjoyed it, sir. Very much enjoyed it. Thank you.
All right, Larry, what's your experience with the original Battlestar?
Reruns. Honestly, and I wasn't old enough to catch it. Well, I was two, but to catch it in the original. But to be honest with you, it was kind of a hokey show. It was. I mean, I was more of a Buck Rogers fan. I thought it was a little more better production value, I guess, as a child. The Cylons kind of looked, made up, I guess. But yeah, I really wasn't a fan of the original. I thought it would kind of sucked, honestly.
All right.
Boo! Boo! Good Buck Rogers, though. Good Buck Rogers.
There's nothing wrong with Buck Rogers, and it's funny though.
Nope. Nothing wrong with Buck Rogers. All right. So, Marky Mark, what's your experience with the original Battlestar?
I have to agree with Jedi Joe. I was a kid when it came out. I remember, I think I was in the second grade probably. So I remember getting the Battlestar Galactica as a Christmas gift. And I think the front of it came off and you could fire it. Like he said, I rode my bike thinking I was, going to shoot up Cylons. And I used to always say, by your command, just like they would say in the show. So I just love the show. It was a great show back in the day. I do also agree with Larry. I also love Buck Rogers. I do have that box set, so I recently watched all of those again. So, but I was still a huge Battlestar Galactica fan as a kid, though.
All right. Calibus, what did you think of the original Battlestar?
I'm with the other two. I was bike riding, pretending it was a Viper, doing all that stuff, man. Battlestar with, Starbuck and Apollo, best of friends, doing everything. And, we had the little toy where the little guy was just like, the head and and he just kind of, you do like this and the whole body would move. One of the greatest thrills until Battlestar Galactica 80 came out and we kind of stopped watching, but the original, loved it.
All right. Leanne, what was your opinion of Battlestar 1978?
I was in love with Apollo and Starbuck, and I thought it was great. It was very much kind of taking a page from Star Trek and Star Wars and moving it into the idea that we've destroyed our world, so we have to travel. So I loved it. Sorry. I thought Babylon 5 was like continuing that mission, but I thought it was a great message.
Great. Yeah, they keep trying to get a movie off the ground, but it doesn't work. I don't know why they are having...
The movie? What? Sorry?
They're trying to bring Battlestar Galactica back as a movie. Richard Hatch has tried it. Bryan Singer's tried it. They just can't bring it back for some reason.
No, I think that sometimes you have lightning in a bottle. I mean, you do have lightning in a bottle, and it works. But you can't bring it back. Like, we're going to remake Indiana Jones and recast it. You can't kind of, right? You just can't recast and remake. You just have to enjoy the moment. It was the time in our past, in our history, and that's a great moment. We need to enjoy it, but we don't need to try to recreate it. I mean, I do get that. Oh, you're shaking your head up there. You disagree. Somebody disagrees. Yeah, you're shaking your head up there. I get it. I just think that some things, like you don't remake Jaws. You just don't. because they're perfect in the moment, and leave them alone. You don't oh, wait, I see a finger up here.
No,
I see
I
a
agree
finger,
with
people
her
disagree.
completely. We need her back on the table. I like her. Let's keep her.
I mean, I think they're beautiful. I think they're wonderful. I just think we need to let it go. Encapsulate in time, put it in amber, and enjoy it. Don't remake it. Walk past. Write a new story.
I agree.
Right? Like Ghostbusters was fabulous. I'm totally female forward. I'm all about that. But don't recast Ghostbusters and put females in and redo the show. Just walk past it. If you want to have a female forward cast, write a different show. Don't steal Ghostbusters, which is definitely those guys, and recast it as females and try to retell the story. Terrible tired. Write a better story. That's all I'm saying. So if you want to do Battlestar Galactica, write a better story. Leave them alone. They did it beautifully. Have them, just leave it alone. Walk past, tell a better story. Sorry, my
Agreed.
2
But
cents.
you could walk right into a Battlestar movie by just changing how long it's been since you last heard from the Battlestar. Set it 50 years in the future
Exactly.
and walk
Change
right
it.
back into it.
Change it. But don't just retell it. Don't just
Right.
take the same script, recast actors, and tell the same damn story again. No. Give me something different. Give me something new. Give me forward, backward. I don't care. Prequel, sequel, whatever. But don't just recast. Because Apollo and Starbuck, there will always be those people for me. Don't recast them. Retell the story. Because I'm going to hate you. I really am. Prequel, sequel, I don't care. Just retell it. Be better. Write new stories. Quit taking the same scripts and just recasting and telling the same stories over and over. Come on, guys. Be better.
Yeah, I agree.
That's my 2 cents, and I will back out now. Sorry.
All right. Let's see. Jakar, what did you think?
Y'all can boo me right from the start of this one.
Boo.
I'm actually with Larry, and I'm with Larry. I was 3 when that series originated. I caught it in reruns. My favorite part of it was the Cylons because I used them with my Star Wars action figures, and they're who usually got their butt kicked. So, were there good points in the show? Yeah, but it was always, for me, it was reruns.
Right.
That's where I got the show at, and I was too heavy into other fandom at that point to really appreciate the original.
I can agree with that. I mean, I hadn't seen it until I found out it was on Tubi. I hadn't seen it since early 2000s or late 90s when Sci-Fi Channel was showing reruns of it. But I hadn't seen it since then. I had to go back and rewatch it all. Ryan, what did you think of Battlestar Galactica?
Sadly, I'm a little too young for that one. I've caught vestiges of it on the Sci-Fi Channel while anime was running, and about the closest thing I could say that it's really in comparison to is the original Cowboy Bebop, which has that sort of feel of like there are planets that are like desolate. You got to go to different planets to try and gain resources, especially with these 2-3 bounty hunters that are going from place to place catching criminals. I can't really say whether or not I would have liked Battlestar Galactica, but from the sounds of it, it sounds pretty much just as amazing as Star Wars or Star Trek or any sci-fi anime that someone like me would put out there. So I may have to give it a watch. And you mentioned it was on Tubi, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to give that a bit of a watch. But yeah, and I agree with Leon about the whole Battlestar Galactica reboot, don't reboot it. Move on. Go to a different story. Go to a different story, whether before or after. And I'm the same way with Cowboy Bebop. Like, for example, they find the actual ship that the show is named after. Have someone else find it, fix her up, and then maybe like a new gang of people, whether young or old, fix it up and go out and do different adventures aside from bounty hunting. And don't make it live action. I mean, for Cowboy Bebop, but with Battlestar Galactica, move on to a different story, have something new, and let people who want to get into the old stuff have access to it, whether it be through Netflix or Tubi or somewhere else.
Right.
That's my 2 cents.
Damon, what did you think about Battlestar Galactica?
You know, I grew up with the first thing I remember was watching those guys, and in retrospect, it kind of moving forward, it was sort of like the science fiction version of Miami Vice, kind of going forward. But I did have, I had the toys, I had the ships, I had their version of the phasers, the guns, and stuff like that. I enjoyed it, and I agree with my wife on this. I mean, I think it'd be cool to have Richard Hatch and Dirk Benedict back in it, as a cameo thing. But you got to move forward. It's kind of like when they did what was the other one, the 1999 thing. But anyway, but the point being is that those guys had. It's like you can't really reboot the $6 Million Man without having Lee Majors in it. So, and I'm sort of thinking if you're going to do that, give him a cameo, but it's got to be a new story.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yep. Yeah. Part of the premise that I heard about the movie that they're trying to make, at least the Bryan Singer one, Apollo is now the commander. Adama has passed away, and it has, elements of their kids going out and exploring in their place.
So it's Next Generation?
Pretty much.
Okay, I'm interested now. I am actually interested.
Yeah, it would be a Next Generation movie with, but the passing of Richard Hatch kind of put a stop to that. They would have to recast Apollo, so it kind of brought the movie to a standstill.
Sure. Yeah, but at least just take it past. Don't recast. Don't go Battlestar Galactica. We're going to cast new people in these old roles.
Right.
Move it past.
But I still want the reference. I want the history of who was there before.
No, I agree with you completely. I need the reference in the history, but move me past. Don't just say, okay, we're going to recast the whole thing brand new.
Yeah, they've done that already. Boomer became a girl. Starbuck became a girl. Yeah, they've done it already on the Sci-Fi Channel.
Yeah, I disagree with that entirely.
That's what happens when you take a premise that was already there and put it to a generation that's never seen the original.
Yeah, and then they think that's real.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. You don't go back and recast Star Wars or Star Trek and say, oh, it's an all-female cast, or just recast entirely and redo the whole thing and expect people to think that's legit. I disagree with that.
Right.
Sorry.
Hey, Brad.
Probably going way off topic.
Hey, Brad, how about this? Since you just brought it up, I didn't know if you were going to use this or not, but what do you think that everybody thinks about the reboot?
I don't even like the reboot. That's why I wasn't going to bring it up.
Well, I'll jump on that horse and say there was elements of it, but yeah, I was stuck to the original. So, hey, how about we make it real quick like this? Thumbs up for the reboot, thumbs down for the reboot. Please share your thoughts. Thank you, Brad. You're still on. Go, buddy.
All right. Okay, so at one point, 20th Century Fox and George Lucas were suing the producers of Battlestar Galactica for its comparison to Star Wars. I don't get it. They're not remotely similar to me.
Yeah, and I hate to jump in here as the lawyer, but there's no legal case there.
Oh, okay. I will play devil's advocate and ask you how they're not similar. They're in space. It's about a family. It's literally got bad guys that look like robots and have red visors. How is it not Star Wars?
Well,
It's
because
not.
It's
You
in
said it
Star.
yourself.
And it's
Robots,
war.
not people.
How is it not Star Wars?
well,
I'm
if you're
throwing the
talking
gauntlet
from
down on this one. That is completely
no, I'm
false.
not. I'm not arguing your case. I'm not arguing the other side to say that it's not similar, story-wise. I'm just saying that as an attorney trying to do a copyright, we're talking about trademark copyright right now. I cannot prove that case in law because you can't tell me every time someone gets on a horse, puts on a hat, and rides across the desert and swings a rope, that means every single Western movie is somehow derivative. That's not it. And Star Wars is a melodrama in space. And Star Trek is a little different, but still, it's a story told in space. The very fact you say to me that, oh, well, it's told in space, therefore you rip me off. No, I need more than that as an attorney. I can't prove my case. You know, that's like, well, every time a story was told, once upon a time, a long time ago in a forest, I get to sue the Grimm's brothers? No. So legally, you don't have a case.
So when I
I'll
mentioned
go off mic.
earlier about a gauntlet, there it is. There it was. Brad, it's all yours, buddy.
All right. Well, here's why I don't think they're similar. There's nothing inside a Cylon except for electronic components. Darth Vader had a person inside.
C-3PO.
C-3PO wasn't trying to kill anybody. Come on, man. You're reaching.
All right, C-3PO was a good guy. Now, come on. We can't. I have to side with them on that one. I'm sorry, El, but I kind of get where you're going with it. Their side of it. It's a human aspect.
All
Actually,
I'm saying is,
I was going to say,
and I'm not
Fox
talking
was
legal
a,
stuff. I'm not talking legal. All I'm saying is, if you're thinking as a geek mind, not legal, just it's the same story. Just like Harry Potter.
Whoa, your story. You are lost,
It's not
bro.
the same
don't even
story,
have
Larry.
any electrical component in that
No, it's not the
fantasy
same
land.
story.
That's
How
not
many-
even close.
and I was going to say the only other
But wait a
robot
minute,
up
wait a
there-
minute, guys. Wait a minute. We forgot. He wasn't even around when it was playing, so sit down and the adults are talking.
See?
The
I was
Cylons
going to
come
say
in
now,
and destroy the
Boxer on the
colony.
show was a robot that was, I can say that would probably be similar to C-3PO or R2-D2 because he was the little boy's supposed to be dog that was running around and he was a robot the whole time. So he would have been the only other robot that was on the show that would be similar to anything in Star Wars. That was the only thing I see that was similar to Star Wars.
So let me reel it in like this. So if we can say it like this, did you enjoy it? Did it make an impact in your childhood? I mean, Star Trek did the same thing for me. I don't think it's the same as Star Wars, but you know, look at it this way, gentlemen, ladies. We could probably argue this, that, and the other, but the point of the matter is the Roundtable is representing the fact that we grew up with it. We enjoyed it. It was a part of our lives. So I think we could probably agree on that, wouldn't you say? Thumbs up, thumbs down?
It's part of the zeitgeist, right?
Right. And for our younger folks, it's a similarity to probably what you're seeing now, because it kind of happens. As my father used to say, history sort of repeats itself. Just think about that for a minute. Fred, it's all yours, buddy.
100%.
Yeah.
There's no right, there's no wrong. It's what we lived.
Yeah.
It was all something that we lived and experienced, and you can't really compare Star Trek, Star Wars, and Battlestar Galactica or Space 1999. All of them were a little different in their own right, but it was something we lived through, right? And they're different stories.
And Battlestar Galactica had a very heavy impact on my growing up, especially after we lost Star Trek. I had to have some kind of sci-fi, and that and Buck Rogers were it.
Oh, so you were watching Star Trek when it was playing live.
Oh yeah.
And then it ended.
Yeah.
So you're watching, like, I only got the syndicated.
You get Gil Gerard, though.
So you actually watching it live?
Yes.
And then it ended for you?
Yes.
Oh my God, that's traumatic.
Yeah, well,
you're like watching, enjoying, and it ended, and then Battlestar Galactica.
I'm 67.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. I'm a little behind you. I picked it up in syndication.
10. I was 10 when I started watching Star Trek.
Oh, see, I was born in 67. A little behind you. I do remember going like to my neighbors, next door neighbors, and I watched the my very first episode of Star Trek was the Salt Monster. Remember her?
Yeah.
Yeah. I had to get out of the bed and run home next door because I was so scared. I was so scared of the Salt Monster. That was my first introduction to Star Trek. Now that puts me probably puts you, like where I am behind you. So you are watching it live. I was watching syndication. You're watching it live, and then you jump to Battlestar Galactica. I was watching Battlestar Galactica live.
And the funny thing is, and my Star Trek family will probably jump in and either tell me I was wrong, but under my, let's say, some of my ammunition to help me out in other things, Mr. Roddenberry got his success from the reruns versus his syndicate, because nobody really liked it. But when it came on late at night, that's when everybody started recognizing it. So it was the second go around that got his success. So hats off to Roddenberry.
It's kind of like having the Batman. I mean, there are episodes that you can name, right? I mean, with the ones that were, the Star Trek episodes, like Leanne just mentioned, and I have a hard time doing that with Battlestar Galactica. I don't know the name of the episodes, and I'd be hard pressed to actually pull one. I know some of what happened in them, but it's like, well, man, like she mentions the Salt Monster. Yep, got it. Got, the Gorm and, whatever it might be. I got Khan, those different things. I just don't have that. I don't have that history with it, and it's really tough to like be able to pull that and really compare them.
Well, some of that is because when they did the original series of Star Trek, for example, that was way back in the day, and they were way back in the day, and they just signed on. They just picked up the phone and said yes. Those poor actors just said yes. And they didn't have proper representation. So that's why the first movie was kind of a disaster. They had no input, and those actors got paid nothing. The second movie, The Wrath of Khan, which I think we can all agree, I hope we can all agree, was a better film, done well. That's when they jumped in, and now their contracts went from 10 pages to 120 pages, and now they're getting paid. Now they're being represented. Now they have control. And so At that point, Wrath of Khan, that's what became better. Because those people got a chance to jump in. And so Battlestar Galactica, I think that Richard Hatch and David Benedict did not have proper representation. They were not represented well. And so they kind of faded into the zeitgeist. They were underrepresented. They should have gotten much more attention. I'm sorry. I'm sorry you invited a lawyer.
Well, the whole show only lasted.
You invited a lawyer to the
episodes.
conversation. It's going to be bad. I just think they were like very, very not represented. And they should have been. I will quit talking about boring legal things now. But
Yeah,
I do think they should have been protected.
ABC kind of canceled the show after 24 episodes, so they didn't make it a whole season.
Yeah.
They didn't make it the whole season, and no one can remember the single episode because it was that bad. That's it's kind of like Firefly. I'm going to go back to Firefly. It didn't get a whole season.
Oh, I love Firefly.
And it didn't. No one can name an episode because it's horrible. I understand it may be near and dear to some people's hearts, but I'm here to tell you the show is really not worth watching. And if it is, give me Katie Sackhoff because I'll spend a night with her any day of the week.
You don't like Firefly?
I
Come on, you don't like it.
I despise that show.
Oh, why? Why do you despise Firefly? Really? Okay, I want to hear it. Come on, baby.
No. You do not want. No, that is for another discussion. Believe me.
All right.
I'm curious, but I
Launch
do
another
want to
one.
be here for that next discussion. That sounds very interesting.
You need to listen to fanboys. That's the discussion for fanboys of Mr. Calibur.
I know.
Look, I want her
I'm
on
sorry I
the show.
derailed us.
We need her on the show. I'm telling you. It's been very
I'm sorry I
interesting
derailed
watching
this down the legal. I'm sorry I derailed
I
this
love
down the legal path.
Battlestar Galactica, and that's all there is to it.
I agree, and I really do want to represent.
Yeah, and I it's not that I disliked it. It was just a different kind of part of my childhood growing up. You know, it was one of those things that I understood and watched it and thought, okay, this is great. Around the same time, Space 1999 came out. Star Trek was leaving. There was a whole bunch of stuff going on, new movies coming out, but it was just a different sort of universe. And everyone can agree that it was fine in its own right. It just is not for everyone, you know?
Mr. Brad, what else you got for us before we close it up?
Well, it's about time for final thoughts. It's 9:15, so.
All right. Well, if you want, I can take over there if you like.
Go ahead.
All right. So, guys, normally we have our discussion. Everybody throws their gauntlet from time to time, but then we do what we call a final thought, kind of like a review of what the roundtable was, the topic, and that sort of thing. And so with that being said, I will start you off. Mr. Calibus Rand himself, please, sir, your final thoughts on tonight's show.
As always, very interesting with the way the dynamic works. And then, of course, you know, Big L, he throws out his gauntlets. So I enjoyed our lawyer in here today very much. I thought just hearing her views on certain things was very nice and very refreshing. Of course, our newcomers, I can't thank you guys enough for showing up today. And Marky Mark is on his way becoming a knight. So keep it going, sir. Love seeing you here. And of course, our First Lady of Fandom, thank you very much. And Brad, for your first experience as host, I want to thank you for throwing yourself out there, because now you know it ain't easy.
Mr. Jakar, the Wolf, your final thoughts, please, boss.
As always, it's good to get together with the brotherhood and sisterhood of fandom. I always respect what others have to say. So I might actually have to give this another look, another shot. I don't think it's going to change my opinion a whole lot, but I'm going to try it anyway. Just for Miss Liz, because, you know, I know how much she loves it.
Speaking of Miss Liz, please, darling, your final thought.
Well, it started out okay, and then it got kind of derailed by a certain somebody that
Sorry.
we all love. And as you all know, I'm a big Battlestar Galactica fan because I used to be part of a Battlestar Galactica group and had cosplayed the whole thing. And I knew quite a few, like I said, I knew several of the actors within it. I tried liking the new one, and I couldn't get past more than about the first or second season, and after that, I just couldn't take it anymore. I had a really hard time dealing with the recasting. So, but other than that, you know how I feel about Battlestar, so. And I'm not going to say a word about Firefly because I'm not going to antagonize somebody.
That's no problem, my dear. Thank you. Marky Mark, our newcomer that's getting closer to that knight status. Please, sir, your final thoughts.
Well, I have to say, like I said, I enjoyed Battlestar Galactica as a kid. I thought it was a great show. I'm glad you brought that up because that's something new I haven't thought about in a while. I'm glad you let us know that it is on Tubi, so I might try to catch it again because I haven't seen it in years. So I did watch the new Battlestar. I watched every episode. I did have a problem getting over the recasting with the female characters, but all in all, it wasn't too bad. I think they just dragged it on a little bit too much. And then I couldn't watch that prequel show at all. But other than that, you know, I love the universe. I hope, like you said, they continue instead of rebooting it, which I think they were thinking about doing again. But we'll see what happens. It was a great universe, and I'd love to see it continue.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. So, under the roundtable, we had a new guest, Mr. Ryan. I appreciate you reaching out to us. Please, your final thoughts, sir.
Well, I guess as the youngest of this crew here, I would have to say that Battlestar Galactica, from what I remember, seemed pretty interesting. But I was at the video games at the time. But after hearing this discussion, I may have to give it a good watch because, like, as much as I like Star Wars, I do want to go into something new, and I haven't touched Battlestar Galactica at all. So this discussion has brought me to just get into it. Just go in head first.
Thank you, buddy. Appreciate that. So, guys, when we were at GalaxyCon, we had a great opportunity to meet the two people that are here also on the roundtable, Miss Leanne and Damon. They came by our tables a couple times. One time, I think as Starfleet officers. The next time we had Rocky. I mean, so it was a great opportunity to see these two nice people. Guys, I know y'all are together, so we'll go with this. Y'all's final thoughts, please.
Well, first off, I derailed your conversation, went down a legal path, and I apologize. Not what I wanted to do, but I think anything. If you guys want to watch Battlestar Galactica, is great. Check it out. I just went down a bad path. Lawyer. Sorry.
Damon, your turn, sir.
Yeah, well, no, I mean, like I said, as a kid, of course, I grew up on the show and the toys and everything there, so I had a little different experience, I guess, with Battlestar Galactica. And in my mind, it's it's just a different universe. So whether you like Star Wars or you like Star Trek or whatever was going on,
Yes, that's exactly.
it was
It doesn't have to be either or. It's the
yeah,
same.
it's just
We
one
can
of those
all love
things
it
in the
all.
zeitgeist that whether there was something that was a space opera or some fantasy or whatever, Battlestar Galactica was a moment in time that is just pivotal for anybody that wants to watch it. And it didn't have a lot of episodes, right? But it was still something that I won't never forget. So that's it.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. And then, of course, behalf of myself, 757 Geek Fandoms, we really do appreciate y'all following us like you did and keeping in touch with Larry. So definitely thank you all so much. Mr. Brad, our host, please, sir, your final thoughts.
Well, I grew up on this show. I was 8 when it started, 9 when it was done. But even the fans that were watching the show couldn't bring it back. No matter how many letters they wrote, ABC and Universal wouldn't bring the show back. So it was just a show that I grew up watching. I like the show. I will say some of the episodes are corny. Some of them are kind of boring, but there were some exciting ones, like when the Galactica was set on fire and they had to put the fire out. Everybody was going to die if they don't get the fire out pretty soon. That was one of the episodes I really enjoyed. But, Battlestar Galactica for me is something that I cherish from my childhood. I didn't have a lot of the toys because they were recalled by the time I was able to get my hands on them. That's what they get for making toys that would shoot actual rockets.
Appreciate that, bud. Appreciate that. Last but not least, the enforcer, the executive vice president of 757 Geek Fandoms, none other than Big L himself.
No, this was great. I love throwing gauntlets down. And the fact that, if it's something you guys enjoy, then by all means, don't let me derail you from watching it. It's just not my cup of tea. It's not what I enjoy. It's not the type of sci-fi that I would indulge in. It's kind of like anime, which, again, don't get me started on that because I think it sucks. But yeah, it's one of those things where if you enjoy it, please go and watch it. Have fun with it. For me, Battlestar Galactica is kind of like that first bottle of Boone's Farm. You swear to God you'll never do it again. So that's how I feel about it, and that's how my mind will stay on that. But Brad, hey man, it's a great topic. Sorry about the gauntlet. Sorry it kind of got derailed on that gauntlet, but sometimes you got to have a healthy discussion to bring things around and make it interesting again.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, but is it kind of like you don't want to talk about it because it's not your cup of tea, but however,
Oh, I've seen
it's out.
it. Don't get me wrong. I've watched it. And like I said, like the Boone's Farm.
Oh, okay.
That bad shot of whiskey that, you take that one time, you're like, nope, never a bleep it again.
Sure. But
That's
you have
gonna
to
be
do
20.
it. And then you can kind of enjoy it like in your childhood. Like it's sort of your childhood. Like, oh, the first time I ever got drunk on that. I remember fondly. But now I'm a grown up. So I won't drink it again. I don't know. Is that where you're going with the Boone's Farm?
Pretty on the money, yeah.
Yeah. It was cool.
I don't know if any of you guys are old enough to remember the $6 Million Man, and everyone's got to remember the episode with Sasquatch when that Bigfoot, right?
Yes.
I just recently watched all of those episodes again too, about 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And I watched Bionic Woman tried to mix it in to see when she got her, robotic. So those are all great episodes.
Yeah, and those are fun. Also corny, but it's part of your zeitgeist, right? And
And who didn't run around the neighborhood slow motion that you're going really fast?
Oh, I ran around the living room. Pretending I was a bionic woman. Yes, we all did that.
We got to
So
do a
guys-
Bionic episode then.
So, guys, final thought on my end is like this. The roundtable comes with a different subject every Wednesday night, whether it's produced by myself or my staff or even y'all's suggestion that I put on the basically on the page itself. And then, of course, if you have a personal one that you're kind of wanting to do or need help with, please either contact me, Mr. Garrett, or Mr. Calibus Rand, and we'll make it happen for you guys. Final thought, as always, it's so good to see every one of you, especially our friends from GalaxyCon. We definitely thank you guys. Of course, Miss Liz, our first lady of fandom. Brad, of course, our host and a longtime Knight of the Round Table. Ryan, I appreciate you, bud, for joining up with us and hope you had a good time. Maybe next time we'll get more involved with something of your end. Drakkar, the brother from the Wolf, guys. The Priory of the Phoenix is also another group that I'm with. I'd like to shout out to them. Both Calibus Rand and Drakkar are pretty much the owners, operators. They have a lot of great shows. They just did a really 3-part show with Miss Liz. If you haven't seen it yet, check it out. Also, this will be posted on YouTube. All of you are stars. I don't pay you nothing to be on here, so I hope you have a good one. Guys, that's all I have for y'all tonight. Hope you will join us next week.
Thank you.
Y'all have a good night.
Good night.
Good night.
You have a good one, man.